So this time around we want to continue to work on our delete functionality. But before we do that, last time around I suggested that the inline conditional rendering to decide whether or not we display the delete button, that it was less than intuitive, but it makes sense. And I forgot to actually tell you why it makes sense. So here in my code on line 224 I have the expression movie ID is greater than 0 and then an ampersand followed by something. And in JavaScript, true and some expression always evaluates to expression, and false and expression always evaluates to false. So when you think about it, this will always return true if movie ID is greater than 0, and it will always return false if movie ID is less than 0 or equal to 0. So that's that. So let's move on. So this time around, what I want to do is when someone clicks on this button, so let me go back to my web browser. When someone clicks on delete, I don't want it just to automatically delete it. I want some kind of confirmation. And there's lots of ways we could do that. We could use the simple JavaScript confirm, but that's pretty ugly, so I'm not going to use that. Or we could use the Bootstrap modal and put a yes and no button in that, but that's a lot of work. And honestly, there's a really simple package, and I'm going to show it to you. It's called React Confirm Alert, and I'll post a link to this on the course resources for this page. This is a really simple one. So what I'm going to do is just grab the install code, go back to my terminal, stop my application, and paste that in there. And this will install the necessary package. Now, I'm a bit of a purist, and I install as few packages as I possibly can, but you're probably aware of the fact that there are many, many packages available for React, including some very good ones. In fact, there's one for React Bootstrap, which makes working with Bootstrap in React a little less cumbersome. But in this course, I'm going to try to stay as close as I can to pure React. Nevertheless, React Confirm Alert is really easy to use, it's relatively small, and it's extremely popular. So let's give it a whirl. All right, so you can see that I should be running npm audit fix to fix some vulnerabilities, but I'll do that later on. Right now we have it installed. So how do we use it? Well, let's go back and look at the examples. So, lots of options we can play with, and I'll let you read those at your leisure. Let's go down here. So here we have something that a class app extends React component. That's exactly what I want. So I'll copy this code. I don't need the submit function, but I need this stuff in the middle. And I'll copy that and go back to my code and find my confirm delete function, wherever that is. There it is right there. So I'll leave the console log in there for now. And then I'll just paste in the code I just copied. And of course I need to import that. So let's go back and see how it's imported right here. So I'll copy these two and go to the top of my code where the imports are and paste those in and get rid of the comments. And go back down to my confirm delete function, which is just before my render function, right here. All right, so I'll change the title from confirm to submit to delete movie, ? And change this to are you sure? Yes. And then right now it's just going to, if I click yes, it will actually just alert, click yes. And if I click no, it will alert, click no. Well, I don't want to do anything on this right now. So I'll simply do this. Just give it an empty function. And on this one, I'll leave that right now and make sure this actually works. So let's start our application. I'll clear the console, npm start. It will fire up a new browser window. And there it is. So let's go to add movie, change it to movie ID 1 so we can see the delete button. And there it is. And this should give me some kind of confirmation alert. And there it is. Okay, so you can style that to your heart's content. The documentation is right on the link that's on the course resources for this lecture. But as you can see, if I click yes, it should say click yes. And if I say no, it should just make the dialog go away. And it does. Okay, so there's a little confirmation step for us. Now, one other thing I want to draw to your attention. I'm going to open the console. Okay, and I'll clear it. And I'll go back to my code and hide the terminal window. And down here, where we actually put this button, right now we have onClick equals, and I use this syntax. Now watch what happens if I get rid of this part. Cut that out of there, okay? Notice how, first of all, it threw an error here, and secondly, this just fired as soon as the page loaded. Well, that's why we're using this syntax. And when you're putting an onClick handler like this, make sure you use this syntax. Otherwise, this is just going to fire no matter what happens. So we'll go back here and everything should be good once I say no and reload this. And that's exactly what we want. So there's no new errors being generated over here. So that's just something to bear in mind. And it's an easy mistake to make. I make it all the time and have to go fix it after the fact. And almost certainly you will as well.